Hey Soranome, how's it going? Yeah, there's a few new parts that have been added. These wire suspended bridges, I put one going back the other way. See, I think there were 3 loops there instead of 1. Had to take that out, it was getting too shaky. Most of it is freestanding. There are a few parts where it's connected to the wall. This section right here is being supported by wrapping around the column. The bridge, though, is entirely freestanding, so it's not actually connected to or resting against any of the things on either end here. There comes the public coming in. We just opened up for the day. Yeah, I'm really pleased with how that elevator lift turned out. It's actually been one of the more reliable parts of the machine. Yeah, this funnel thing was kind of crazy to build. It took probably a month and a half. There's about 30,000 pieces just in the funnel alone. And it's actually been designed to be transported as well. There's about 275 feet of tubing just in the funnel. So in early January, this whole machine is being taken down, and all of the pieces are being donated to the Works Museum, where my other machine is, at which point I'm going to start a 4-month-long renovation on that machine to make it even larger and, you know, fix some problems that it's been having since it's been up for about 4 years now. So this, the giant funnel here is going to be transported to the Works Museum all in one piece. So this is going to be sitting in the middle of their lobby at some point next year. There's a shiny piece of paper that says I did a thing. Yay. This jittery wheel lift, I'm doing this the wrong way for a wheel lift. I'm powering it from the center, which, you know, you should not do. These wheels on the top are not actually powering it, they're just guide wheels. And I was planning to modify it so that those are actually what are powering it, which make it a lot smoother and, you know, solve the whole torque issues, but I never got around to it. And up here is the Flywheel Lift. So a pair of differentials are splitting the torque between the flywheels and a set of 4 wind-up motors. So when it first turns on, the plug-in motors are able to get to full speed, full torque right away. They funnel the torque into the wind-up motors, and as the wind-up motors get more and more wound up, it sends the torque into the flywheels, causing it to gradually accelerate. Just have to make sure that a ball doesn't, you know, try to get sucked into the flywheels while it's accelerating, or else bad things happen. So far they have not. Yeah, I mean, this doesn't run that frequently, so it's hard to say, but I've never had to replace any of them, and they still are working just fine. I have some competition from the Lego world. Yeah, I do, all the time. The chain lifts are, you know, by far the worst part of this whole thing. They break down a lot. So this one, especially this 45-degree angle chain lift, I thought it was a cool idea, and, you know, it looks all right, but it breaks down more than anything else on the whole machine. And yeah, that's one thing when I do my renovation at the Works Museum. I'm going to eliminate all chain lifts. And I'm going to replace them with a cable-driven elevator lift, which I'm working on designing currently. Because yeah, that's also a problem at the Works Museum, because, you know, that machine is 24 feet tall, and and the chains break all the time on that. And replacing the chain on a 24-foot tall machine is a huge pain for the staff or myself when they have to call me in. They break at the joints. I've never actually had one of the chain elements fail. You're good. You may recognize that thing, the infinite loop machine, but it's not actually hooked up to any motors. I needed the motors because a couple of them wore out. I had to take them and replace them elsewhere in the machine, so. So this is an interesting part of the machine right here. I call this the emergency lever. So, see what happens, the balls get launched out of the flywheel and they head off down that way. And if you pull the emergency lever, it activates this linkage which goes all the way down there. And it's probably really difficult to see, but there's part of the roof on this track right here lowers down very, very slightly. So what ends up happening is the roof just barely brushes the tops of the balls there, and it slows them down. And then I have a one-way gate that works as an anti-rollback device on that hill. So it, instead of sending them down that way toward that end of the machine, it diverts them all. They all come down this track and back into the funnel. And you can already see there's a lot more balls in here than there were earlier. So effectively what that does is it isolates all of the balls in the machine to this one area. So if something goes catastrophically wrong when the machine is running, I can just activate the emergency lever. And, you know, the funnel is already the most popular part for the public to look at anyway, so they all just stay right here, and then I can go fix the machine, and a lot of times they never even know that anything went wrong. So, pull this back down and let traffic continue on toward that end of the machine. No, I do not use any of the battery pack motors. Everything is all the 12-volt plug-in motors, and there are, you know, hundreds and hundreds of feet of extension cords running all throughout the machine, so that they all get plugged in at a single outlet. So the whole machine turns on all at the same time. When I first built it, I had to go running around the room turning on every single motor individually, but now it's all just one plug, which is, you know, a lot better. And the lights, too, they're also powered by that same plug. Hello. No, it's all Knex. There's well, with one exception, down at the very far end of the room, there's a couple of steel cables that are holding up the bridges on the other side. But the main bridge. Sorry, I killed the stream for a second. But yeah, this main bridge is all completely constructed out of Knex pieces and is holding itself up. So officially on the record it says like 126,000 something, but at this point it's probably closer to 140,000 because I've added on a bit here and there.
Can we get a ride here?
Excuse me.
This has been a sort of ongoing project for the past 3 years. The bulk of it was done in the first 6 months, and then another year on top of that, doing little tweaks and changes, and since then it's been fairly static and I haven't added all that much onto it. It's a shame that the loop is being covered up. Well, we are actually donating all of these pieces to the Works Museum at the end of the year. So this machine is being taken down, probably starting the second or third week in January, and everything is going to the Works Museum after that. So the Works Museum is where I have my other giant Knex ball machine installation, which has now been running for about 4 years, and that's 8 hours a day every single day for 4 years. So it's in a bit of disrepair, and I'm going to use all these pieces. I'm going to basically combine the two and make an even larger one. So that'll be my project for the next 4 or 5 months. I'll probably do a time lapse of taking this down. Yeah, I know, I need to be better at working on personal projects. My YouTube channel is kind of totally dead right now. I'm working on some, I'm working on my transmission project still. And I recently moved to a new apartment a few months ago, and I'd like to do a ball machine that runs through the whole apartment. I was actually working at that in my old apartment, but then I moved, so I had to take it down before it was ever finished. But yeah, my new transmission project is essentially finished. It works quite well. There's a couple little tweaks I'd like to make to it in terms of reliability, and then I can get working on a video. The video is probably going to take a while with the way I'm planning to do it. I mean, you'll see if and when I finish it what I'm talking about, but I'm not dead. I still build things. I also have been doing a whole lot of non-Knex projects, 3D printed stuff, and a whole lot of computer animation too. It's basically a matter of which one I have the most in supply of at any given moment. I just happen to have a lot more of the blue pieces than the white pieces, Also, the white pieces can be used either for connections like this or for having rods run through them. So I like to try and save them for places when I need to run axles through the middle of a structure. And yeah, no wind issues. My favorite contraption. My favorite contraption is still would still have to be Clockwork. I mean, that was sort of what got me started on this path of making the large-scale installations. I mean, this is the one I'm most proud of, particularly for the bridge right here. That's sort of that was a long time. That took about 2 months to design and build just that. But I still think Clockwork is my favorite. Sort of the classic room-style Knex machines. Oh, my favorite project someone else has made? That would have to be Shadow Man's skee-ball machine. That thing is absolutely a work of art and just blows me away every time I see it. When I first started planning to build a machine in this space, that was the first thing I wanted to do, was try and build a bridge that spanned across the entire space here. So while I was building, so this wall of the machine is what was built first, and I started way down at that end and worked my way this way. And as I was working my way this way, I was sort of making mental plans and a few sketches for doing the bridge, and then worked my way back around the room. Do I have names for the pieces? I do, but they're. I find that my names typically aren't always what other people call them, so I typically just call them by color, and it doesn't matter if it's the new or the old color, they're the same color. So, I say that's a white connector, not a snowflake. Yellow rod, that's a red rod, even though it's green. Yeah, that's mainly then, orange tabby thing, I don't know. Purple connector, gray rod, etc. Whenever I'm working on a project with friends who haven't built with Knex before, and I say, hand me a red rod, and I point to a pile of these things, they get very confused, and then I have to explain the original colors of all the pieces. It's probably just... Oh, hi.
I'm Judy.
Yeah.
Renee's. Congratulations, this is like so cool.
Thank you.
Is this on YouTube as well?
Yeah, I'm actually live streaming to YouTube right now. So.
Oh, okay. I'll let you go.
I'm glad you could make it.
Oh, I'm glad I heard about it. This is just...
So an example of how the orange tabby things are used. Basically, it's to get a third plane of angles off of the purple-purple or purple-blue connectors, allowing me to, put that cross brace on yet another plane, sort of shore up connections a bit. Same thing down here. That's primarily how I use them. I've occasionally used them to connect gears. They can work as a sort of slip connection. Knex has been sort of changing their colors constantly. They, they started with all the same colors, and then they did the whole what was that called? The Lost Mine series, and then they changed the yellow rods to gold, and white connectors to black connectors, white rods to black rods. I don't know if you can post links in the chat, but when the live stream is over, you should be able to post the link as a comment because it's going to go up as a YouTube video. At what age? I was probably 4 years old when I got my first Knex set. So I'm 27 now, so the past 23 years. So for a lot of tall things, I build them horizontally on the ground and then just push them up into place. That's how I made the tall towers for the bridge. But the bridge itself, so we're actually in an old warehouse, and you see there's these giant rail cranes that they run on these rails and go all the way to the other ends of the warehouse here. And we actually used the cranes, we ran a rope over the crane and hoisted the bridge into place with that. There's a video on my YouTube channel, a time lapse of assembling the crane. It took about 7 people to get it up into place, so you can check that out if you're interested in how the bridge was put up. Am I working on a new machine? Not currently. I have a couple ideas, and I'm working on a new transmission project currently. Starting next year, I'm going to take this machine down and combine it with the Works Museum machine. So that'll be my ball machine project for the next several months then. Yeah, the Big Ball Factory is the coolest Knex set that's ever been made. It's my all-time favorite, and I mean, it has a special place in my heart just because it's, you know, what got the whole ball machine thing started. But it's incredibly well designed. It's got a lot of pieces, a lot of very useful pieces. It's just a great kit all around. I'm glad they brought it back, even if it is a lot more expensive than it used to be. So the question of who pays for this came up. So I should probably explain where we are right now. We are at Brickmania Toyworks in Northeast Minneapolis. And Brickmania, they're the company that I've been working for the past little more than 3 years now. And they make custom Lego kits. And as you can tell from a lot of the displays around here, they're primarily military-themed kits, but here's a display case of a lot of the kits that we have made or are currently making throughout the years. And they have this public gallery space right here that we call the Brickmania Toyworks. And they found me through my YouTube channel, and they came and they said, hey, can you build one of those Knex machines for us here? And, you know, I obviously jumped at the idea. So the company paid for all of the pieces, which were pretty much exclusively bought on eBay. I didn't buy anything new, except the orange tabby things. Those are bought new, and the motors, some of the motors. But yeah, roughly $6,000 in used pieces went into making this. And yeah, now that the machine is done, I'm working here as a computer animator and video producer. So I film and edit and run the Brickmania TV YouTube channel, and I do myself and my co-animator do all of the animations for all of the kits that we sell. So, you know, that's what I've been up to for the past 3 years. So here we've got a bunch of other displays that people who aren't necessarily affiliated with Brickmania, but just other adult fans of Lego built, and they bring in here. Train layouts and Got a bunch of Star Wars displays there. Marvel and DC.
No, that's a monkey.
No, it definitely is. It's great. It's a lot of fun.
Lots of building in my head, and now I'm actually putting it together and finding, well, that sort of works and that sort of doesn't work. So lots of adjustments and improvising.
So yeah, these bridges right here are being held up by a steel cable. I figured I legitimately bridged the gap across the room once, so it wasn't that big a deal if I cheated on the way back. And yeah, Lego GBCs, those are really cool. I've seen some at a couple of the Lego shows I've been to. I was at Brick World in Chicago this past summer, and they had an amazing GBC right there. It was amazing. And right here, this guy is actually working on building a Lego ball contraption. And yeah, the lights are Arduino controlled. So way down at the far end by the bridge is where the Arduino is. There's 1,500 LEDs. Arduino Nano. GBC stands for Great Ball Contraption, and it's what the Lego people call the ball machines that they make.
As opposed to the Lego people would be a lot of pieces, but this was not a lot.
How many balls are running on the track? At this point, there's around 40. I don't know the exact number. They keep falling off, and I keep putting new ones back on, so I'd have to actually take all of them off the machine and count them to get an exact number at this point, but somewhere around 40. So if anyone is going to be in Minnesota or the Twin Cities area the next couple weekends, this open house is still going. It's going to be ending on January 7th, 2018. So if you want to come by and see my ball machine or any of these Lego displays, will be open then. And then after January 7th, all of this is coming down. The ball machine's getting taken down. The Lego displays are moving out of here. So this is sort of the last big hurrah before all of this is taken down. So then it's moving to the Works Museum. So I think I'm going to sign off now. Thank you all for watching. And yeah, hopefully I'll make my YouTube channel be less dead in the future.